broad question. How do you see warfare transforming in the future?
I mean, the biggest effect, I think, by far is AI and drones. So the next, well, in fact, the current war in Ukraine is very much a drone war already. It's sort of a contest between Russia and China to see who can deploy the most number of drones. Now, if there's a major power war, it's very much going to be a drone war. It's going to be drones and AI, and it's a sort of. I mean, I do worry about the existential risk of AI, which is that if you employ AI and drones, do you go down this path where eventually you get to Terminator? Try to avoid that.
That'd be good.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Minimize the Terminator risk. But I mean, essentially, when you're making military drones, you are making Terminators, and when I think you'll somewhat be forced into giving the drone localized AI, because if the AI is far away, it can't control as well as localized AI. So,
what do you mean by localized AI?
Meaning it's autonomous killing machine.
Completely autonomous.
Well, you give it the okay
in
a particular arena, and it goes
with certain parameters.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Drones are going to be overwhelmingly the what matters in any between in any powers that have significant technology. It's so. My personal belief is like that you really it'll actually be I think probably too dangerous to have humans at the front. It's drones at the front.
It's too dangerous.
Drones don't miss.
Because of the lethality, though. It's too dangerous to have humans at the front.
Yes. If you've seen some of the computer-controlled sniper rifles, they just don't miss. So you're finding a machine that's gonna, aim with micron-level accuracy. Yeah. But basically, I think there's a production rate issue. Like the rate, so like how fast can you make drones? It's like if you say there's a drone conflict, the outcome of that drone conflict will be how many drones does each side have in that particular skirmish times the kill ratio. So if you've got, you can have let's say the United States would have a set of drones that have a high kill ratio, but then the other side has far more drones. If you've got a 2-to-1 kill ratio, the other side has 4 times as many drones. You're still going to lose.
Do you think our industrial base can scale to make the volume of drones that you're talking about?
I think that's going to be the biggest challenge. That is it can scale, but it is not currently scaling.
Why would that be?
I think the procurement is still. I read a lot of military history and actually the thing that I go to sleep with is using an audio book on military history on one kind or another. So I find the subject very interesting. And one of the things that tends to happen is that countries pretty much are geared up to fight the last war, not the next war. And it's hard to change. If you look at the uniforms at the start of World War I and the tactics and strategies they used at the start of World War I, they were not significantly different from the Napoleonic era. The French were marching into war with brightly colored uniforms. Looked great. That's not what you want to be. When somebody's trying to point a gun at you, you don't want a great looking uniform. You want a uniform that blends in. So there's a tendency to be gearing up to fight the last war. And the last war, the U.S. fought, was kind of the Cold War, I guess. So it usually takes like some kind of shock factor to adjust. I would recommend adjusting now. And you are seeing some startups like Anduril and a few others that have a different mindset. But it's really, it's going to be can you make a lot of drones? And what's the kill ratio? That's what it comes down to.
So there was recently a report that said that President Zelensky said by February 2025 there'll be 1 million drones produced by the Ukrainians. So it seems like it's doable, and this might be a process question. And we'll talk about process in a second. But as you were just talking, I was thinking about it, and you said that you can't have humans at the front, and so you haven't created a company that's solved aging yet, have you?
No.
Okay, so then in 100 years,
I wonder whether we should solve aging. There's
that's a great point.
Yeah.
I'd like to wrap it up sometimes, right?
Well, it's like, yeah.
No.
How long do you want Putin and Kim Jong-un to live?
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, but let's say
don't get it first.
Let's say you go forward 50, 100 years. How do you envision this evolution? And I think this might get to Neuralink. How do you see this evolution between the human, who maybe can't be at the front any longer, the technology's at the front, yet keeping them integrated and synchronized? Like, how is that going to work in your mind?
I mean, so communications is essential. It is actually very important to have space-based communications that cannot be intercepted, which is Starlink, which is what Starlink offers. Starlink is the backbone of the Ukrainian military communication system, because it can't be blocked by the Russians. Essentially, it's the only thing that can't be. So on the front lines, all the fiber connections are cut, the cell towers are blown up, and the geostationary satellite links are jammed. The only thing that isn't jammed is Starlink. So it's the only thing. And then GPS is also jammed. The GPS signal is very faint, but Starlink can offer location capability as well. So it is a strategic advantage that's very significant. And when you're trying to communicate with the drones need to, basically, they need to know where they are, and they need to receive instructions. So if you don't have communications and positioning, then the drones don't work. So
Now,
that's quite important. It's essential.
But you find it important that there's still that communication between the human and the machine or the drone.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, there's it's a different question of where are things right now versus where will things be in 10 years. And I have to say, I do look at the future with some trepidation. I have to have some deliberate suspension of disbelief to sleep sometimes, because I think we're headed into a pretty wild future. And I'm naturally an optimistic person, so but AI is going to be so good.
Oh my God.
Including localized AI. I mean, at the current rates, you'll have something that's sort of rock level AI.
No.
Probably that can be run on a drone. And so you could literally say, this is the equipment that the drone needs to destroy. Go into that thing, it'll recognize what equipment needs to be destroyed and take it out.
It's a lot of your work with Neuralink, though, is because what you're saying is that AI is going to quickly surpass, at least in your estimation, the human's ability to control it.
It already has. Wake
Yeah.
up.
Okay.
Wake up.
I mean, I'd
This
like
is
to
not
say
funny.
no, but the answer is yes.
So first off, how long until you think that happens? Before the AI has evolved to the point where, the AIs can start working together, even relying on computers, in a dehobbled way, and therefore surpasses the ability for the human to be able to influence